With more women starting families later in life, Celine Dion is speaking out about her own struggle with infertility in this week's People magazine. The singer is trying for a second child at the age of 41, and she says she is determined to keep trying despite all the setbacks. This is the Celine we're used to seeing. The vocal powerhouse who is now preparing for the release of a new documentary and getting ready to return to Las Vegas to start a 3-year run of concerts. But the woman known best for belting out songs about love and loss is now dealing with her own heartbreak.
We were saddened to hear that you had a miscarriage.
We did a miscarriage. We tried 4 times to have a child.
She appeared on Oprah discussing her struggle to become pregnant with a second child at age 41. Emotionally open, but also strong.
We're still trying. We're on the 5th try. And I tell you, if 5 is my lucky number, this 5th try has got to come in. Right?
She also discusses her condition in the latest issue of People magazine.
Celine's gone through 5 IVF treatments in the past 6 months. And what this consists of is just daily shots, hormone treatments, regular ultrasounds, and tons of blood work. I mean, her veins are really weak, she told us.
It's a grueling routine that Liz Owen in her 40s is all too familiar with.
I required a lot of injections.
Liz and her husband David tried to get pregnant for 3 years.
We tried the old-fashioned way, which was fun but unsuccessful. And then we continued to try the old-fashioned way, which then became not fun and still unsuccessful. And then we did 6 inseminations and 3 in vitros, and the 3rd one was the one that worked.
They now have 4-year-old twins, but it was a rough road.
Success rates with IVF or any kind of fertility treatment for that matter decrease as the woman ages. People don't appreciate what an incredible emotional and psychological toll this takes on a couple and on the individual. But again, in terms of long-term health risks, we don't see any downside.
And as for Celine, she remains optimistic.
I will be the happiest one to tell you when I'm pregnant, and if not, I'm the luckiest artist, especially wife and mother of a wonderful son. So I'm blessed.
She is blessed, has a 9-year-old, beautiful 9-year-old son. Joining us now is Dr. Jamie Griffo. He is the program director of the NYU Fertility Center. Good to have you back.
Good morning.
With us. Good morning. We heard Celine. I just love her passion. You know, she is just so. And she said it's her 5th attempt that she's going through since August. She's 41. Is it safe?
Well, as far as we know, I mean, we've been doing these procedures for over 30 years, and no, the long-term studies haven't really shown any, significant measurable danger from multiple attempts. So it appears to be.
Does it decrease your chances the more you try?
Absolutely. Each time that you try gives you a little better chance over just trying on your own, so to speak. And it does improve your chances the more you try. But at some point, you reach a point where of diminishing returns, it doesn't work, and sometimes you have to switch gears and move on to other options, and that's very tough.
Yeah, I mean, how do you, you've been there. How do you tell a woman that it's time to try something else?
See, there's no test that we can do that will say, okay, this is the one who's going to succeed and this is the one who's going to fail. So it becomes a totally individualized treatment, and you have to discuss with your physician the options, the odds, and then make good decisions. We can't predict for patients, and that's unfortunate. But there are times when we get a sense this isn't going to work and it's time to move on, and we encourage patients. But we also try and just help them with the process, because that's the real difficult part of it, is making those tough decisions when to stop, when to move on.
As we said, it's not just physical, emotionally, the toll that it takes on the couple is really something.
Well, it affects the whole family, and it is a very difficult thing. And we live our lives assuming fertility, and in many cases that's a good assumption, but in many cases that's not a good assumption.
We have been doing a number of these stories lately, Doctor, and there was something that we had, a study that said by the time a woman hits 30 years old, 90% of her ovarian eggs are gone for good. And then we just had a recent study that showed that women over the age of 40 are twice as likely to have an autistic child. I mean, there's a lot to consider if you're having a child later in life.
Well, absolutely. But, a lot of women are still able to conceive spontaneously without the help of assisted reproduction well into their 40s. But not everybody can, so that's the difficulty. And there are risks that one assumes by delaying childbearing, but the risks are small. They may be higher than when you're younger, but they're not dramatically increased, but they're to be thought about. And I think the real key lesson is, if you're a woman and you're concerned about your fertility, you're a couple, you're concerned about your fertility, fertility, get information, do your homework, and make good decisions, because the decisions you make now may have a big impact on what happens later in your life. So be thoughtful about the process.
A number of us were chatting amongst ourselves, and one question that came out, is there an ideal age as a woman to think about having children?
That's a great question. It's actually a loaded question, because biologically, the ideal age is in our 20s, but we also live in a society. Sociologically, that may not be the best time to be having children. When you're older and more evolved as a person, I think you can be a better parent. But I think every couple is different, and they have to make their own decisions and make good decisions. And to do that, they need good information. They need doctors who explain things to them and make the information available so that patients make good decisions, because that's the key to living through this stuff.
That is. Well, Petula came up with that question. I'll tell her you said it was a good one.
Yeah, it is a good one.
Dr. Griffo, thank you very much.
Nice
Appreciate
to see
it. Nice to see you again.